What should have been a joyful introduction ceremony became a nightmare. When their parents saw each other, the devastating truth emerged: Daniel and Emily were blood siblings separated at birth. Emily stood there, heavily pregnant with their child. Daniel refused to believe it, grabbed her hand, and they left together, leaving their weeping families behind. Daniel pulled Emily into the car and fired up the engine. He hadn't even fully settled in his seat before his cousin Samuel came sprinting out of the house, waving his hand to signal he was coming. He jumped straight into his own car and fell right into line behind them. Emily's cousins, Clarissa and Deborah, didn't waste a second. They hopped into their cars and tailed them without even being asked. No one was staying behind tonight. Daniel drove like a man with nothing left to lose. Every turn was sharp. Every red light was ignored or barely acknowledged. Emily sat beside him, watching his face, her heart pounding in her chest with every jolt and swerve. She could see the tension in his jaw, the way his fingers gripped the steering wheel so tight his knuckles had gone pale. "Listen, my love, don't worry about any of this. Don't let my dad get inside your head. He is a confused man. A very confused man. And I swear on everything I am, he cannot change what we have between us. He cannot break us apart. Think about it. Of all the things to come up with, of all the times he could have said something, of all the stories in the world, this is what he chose to come up with? Tonight? At our celebration? Who does something like this anymore? Honestly, what is wrong with our parents?" Daniel said, his eyes darting between her face and the road, bouncing back and forth like he couldn't decide which one needed his attention more. "I know, my love. I know exactly what you mean. They are clearly just trying to destroy what we have. My mom could have simply said she didn't want us together. She could have just been honest about that, and I would have married you without her blessing and never looked back. But this? This wild story about us being siblings? She told me my father disappeared without a trace. That's what she told me my entire life. So where is all of this coming from now? They can try everything they have. They will never break our love," Emily said, squeezing his hand so tight it was like she was trying to make sure he was still real. "Don't you worry about it. There is nothing they can do. Nothing. My dad told me that my mother died when I was 2, maybe 3, years old. That's the story I grew up with. So I don't know what kind of fiction he's suddenly writing now. Honestly, when he gets stressed like this, he starts behaving this way. And let's be real, I think that little drink he had went straight to his head," Daniel said, lifting her hand to his lips and kissing it before turning his eyes back to the road ahead. "I love you so much, Daniel. More than I can even say. Nothing in this world can break what we have. Not their lies, not their drama, not any of their ridiculous stories. Nothing," Emily said, and she leaned over and kissed him as he made a turn, her lips soft and certain. "I love you with everything I am. With my soul. With every breath I take. With the very last thing I have left to give. I will never let anything keep us apart. Not our parents. Not anyone. You are my whole world, and that is never going to change," Daniel said, his voice low and full. They arrived home, a 6-bedroom duplex that stood wide and commanding in the night. Daniel pulled up hard and fast. Samuel was right behind him, tires barely stopping before the door swung open. Emily's cousins pulled in just seconds later. Daniel didn't pause. He grabbed Emily's hand and marched them both straight inside, moving with purpose, moving like a man who had already decided how the rest of this night was going to go. The others scrambled to keep up, Samuel jogging, Clarissa and Deborah rushing out of their cars, everybody falling in behind them. A few minutes passed. Then they heard it, the slow, deliberate pull of his father's car arriving. No escort. Just the old man and his driver. Not long after that, Emily's mother pulled up too, her aunties filing in behind her one by one. Emily and Daniel bolted upstairs. They locked the bedroom door behind them and, without a word, fell into each other. Within moments, they were making love. Downstairs, the atmosphere was something close to suffocating. Some people paced the living room in circles. Some sat completely slumped in chairs, staring at the wall like they'd forgotten how to blink. Others whispered to each other in confused, low voices, comparing what they'd seen and trying to make sense of it. Some cried silently. Emily's mother sat with her hands trembling in her lap. Daniel's father stood near the window and stared out into the dark. The living room felt like the waiting room of a hospital, tense, helpless, and absolutely heavy with dread. Upstairs, none of that existed. They made love for over an hour. Emily, despite her swollen belly, felt more connected to Daniel in those moments than at any point in the 9 years they had been together. Everything they felt, the rage, the fear, the confusion, the desperate need to hold on to what was theirs, they poured all of it into each other and turned it into something that felt like defiance. Like proof. When the knocking started at their bedroom door, they didn't stop. If anything, they went deeper into each other. The more the door rattled, the more they lost themselves. Emily, please. Come on, you both need to come out. Downstairs, our parents are all there. They're waiting. Please, that's enough, Deborah, her cousin, called through the door, her voice cracking under the weight of it. Buddy, I know this is confusing. I know everything feels completely upside down right now. But please, just stop for a second. She is heavily pregnant. This is not the time for this. They're all here. Everyone is here downstairs. Please come outside, Samuel said from his side of the door, his forehead probably pressed against the wood. Let me ask you something, Daniel called back from inside, completely unfazed. Do you not still sleep with your pregnant wife? And by the way, why hasn't your dad shown up and declared that your wife is your blood sister? Because that's the game being played here. I am with my wife. I am happy with my wife. All of you are welcome to go home. Nobody was going anywhere. They didn't come out, not for 2 whole hours. They didn't emerge until Deborah was on the other side of that door, crying, not just knocking anymore but begging, her voice so worn and desperate that it finally reached them. When they stepped into the bathroom, Daniel took his time. He bathed her himself. He scrubbed her back, washed her hair, and wouldn't allow her to do a single thing on her own. He was always like that with her, always attentive, always protective, always treating her like something worth protecting. When they came back out, dressed and calm, he held her close as they made their way to the top of the stairs, his hand in hers, his eyes on every step she took. The same way he always was. Shielding her. The way a man shields something he would die for. Which, at that moment, said everything. They walked down the stairs like they owned every inch of that house, because they did. Everyone in the living room turned at the sound of their footsteps. Their parents. The aunties. His uncle. Their cousins. Every single person looked like they'd been through something terrible while waiting. Emily's cousins had been crying. Daniel and Emily walked in looking completely, deliberately unbothered. Dad, what exactly are you doing here? And why are all of you sitting in our house right now? The bride price ceremony was postponed. We said that. When we are ready, when we have made a decision, we will come to you. Until then, this is our home. So I'm going to ask all of you to leave, Daniel said, standing in the center of the room with the kind of stillness that made it clear he meant every single word. And while we're all here, Emily added, tilting her head with a calm that bordered on devastating, let's be honest. We just spent the last 2 hours upstairs making love. All of it, the sweetness, the closeness, the love. So clearly, whatever story is being told about us, the bodies don't agree. Because siblings don't do what we just did. She turned and kissed him on the lips right there, in front of every single one of them. The room went completely still. Most of them looked like they'd had the air taken out of them. Emily's mother let out a sound, somewhere between a scream and a sob, and the tears came rushing down her face in a flood that didn't stop. How? How can you both just refuse to sit down and hear us out? Please, I know this is painful. I know how it feels. I know we caused all of this. But please, both of you, sit down. Let us tell you how it happened. Let us explain everything, how it started, what we were thinking, what we can do now to cleanse this and move forward. Please. Hear us out. That's all I ask, Emily's mother pleaded, her voice breaking between every word. My son, please. Sit down, both of you. Let us explain everything from the beginning. You are siblings. I know that is unbearable to hear. I know it sounds impossible. And I know this is entirely our fault. But please, do not keep going down this road, Daniel's father said. Daniel exhaled sharply, turned his face away, and said nothing for a moment. Then he said, get out of my house. Take everybody with you and get out. I want peace with my wife. That is the only thing I want tonight. But she is not your wife, Daniel. She cannot be your wife. She is your blood sister, your younger sister. Please, just listen to me. Your mother was accused of cheating. That is what happened. And this woman here, standing in your living room right now, she is your mother. Your actual mother. Please believe me. Please listen, his father said. That was the moment everything shattered. Emily felt the tears hit her face before she even realized she was crying. Daniel didn't simply get emotional. He detonated. He shoved the dining table so hard it scraped across the floor. He threw things, swept things off surfaces, paced back and forth with his fists clenched, his whole body shaking with a kind of rage that had grief tucked inside every layer of it. Emily stood back, frightened, not of him, but for him, frightened that the pain would take him somewhere he couldn't come back from. Stop talking. Stop talking this nonsense right now and get out of my house. Get away from my wife. I don't want your explanation. Not a single word of it. If you say one more thing, I will harm somebody, and it might be myself. So stop. Right now. I'm warning you, Daniel said, his voice cracking as the tears ran down his face. Please, just listen. Just a few minutes. My son. My son, it has been so many years. So many years since I held you, since I saw you. I am so sorry that I had to leave the way I did. Something happened, Daniel. My baby boy. The little boy I used to sing to sleep every night with lullabies, Emily's mother said, stepping forward, her hand reaching toward his face with shaking fingers. Don't touch me. Daniel stepped back hard. His voice had gone flat. Cold. You are not my mother. My father told me my mother died when I was 3 years old. He told me that. So you are not my mother. You are my mother-in-law, and I will be marrying your daughter whether any of you like it or not. I lied to you, son. His father's voice fell apart. I lied to you about her dying because, after we separated, I didn't want you asking questions I couldn't answer. We separated in the most destructive, most horrible way imaginable. They told me your mother had been unfaithful, that she had slept with my closest friend. And instead of listening to her, instead of giving her a single chance to explain herself, I believed them. I chose betrayal over my wife, and I destroyed everything we had. When we finally separated, she was 5 months pregnant. She took that child and she left. I took you. You were barely 3 years old, and I carried you away from your mother. We both swore on our very lives, that we would never set eyes on each other again. And we kept that promise. For 30 years, we kept that promise. And in keeping it, we did this to the two of you. Emily. My daughter. My baby girl. Every single day since then, I have missed you. Every day, I have lived with the weight of calling you someone else's child, of accusing your mother of carrying another man's baby. That was the worst thing I ever did. The very worst. And now, after all these years, here you are. My daughter, his father said, walking toward Emily with wet eyes and hands that wouldn't stop trembling. You take one more step toward me and I will hurt you. I will hurt you and then I will hurt myself. I am not your daughter. I don't know who you are to me. You are the father of the man I love, and that's as far as this goes. Don't come near me. I'm not asking, Emily said, and even as the tears poured down her face, her voice didn't flinch. Don't you dare touch her. Daniel put himself in front of Emily, arms out, voice low and burning. She is my wife. The only woman I have ever loved. She is not my sister. And you, he turned to Emily's mother, are not my mother. Dad told me my mother was dead. So I suggest you go find whoever your son is and leave mine alone. Both of you, out of this house. Now. Before something happens that none of us can take back. Emily's cousins were crying openly on the other side of the room, holding her to keep her upright because her legs were beginning to give. Samuel had his arm locked around Daniel, his own face raw with emotion. Emily stood and tried to steady herself, but everything around her was starting to blur. Something inside her was coming apart, piece by piece. You are not my brother, she said, and her voice came out thin and trembling, like a thread stretched to its absolute limit. You are my husband. You are the man I have loved for 9 years. We are not blood. We are not siblings. And I cannot survive hearing that we are. Please don't tell me you believe them. Please. If I lose you, I won't make it. I know I won't. Never, my love. You could never be my sister. That is not possible. They are not our parents. We don't know them anything. If I can't be with you, then I don't want to breathe anymore. Come with me. Let's leave all of this behind. Let's go somewhere far, somewhere no one can find us, and let's build our life there. Just us. Just the 3 of us, Daniel said, pulling her into his arms, pressing his lips to her forehead and then her mouth. And then Emily screamed. Just once. A sharp, terrible sound that cut through the whole room. Then she went down. One moment she was standing, and the next she wasn't. Her legs buckled and her body went completely limp before Daniel could hold her up. My love. No. Wake up. Open your eyes, please. Look at me. I'm right here. I am your love. I'm not your brother. Please wake up. Samuel. Samuel, help me. Help me with my wife right now. Daniel screamed, his voice cracking completely, shaking her gently, then harder, calling her name over and over. He was nearly out of his mind. He lifted her slightly, then called for his driver to pull the car around. Samuel told him there was no time to wait. He scooped Emily up himself, and they rushed her to the car as fast as humanly possible, laying her across the back seat and tearing out of the compound before anyone else could react. Emily's parents and her aunties rushed toward the door. Daniel's uncle too. Daniel stopped them all with a single look. Stay back. Every single one of you. Don't you dare come to that hospital. I don't want to see your faces anywhere near us. Do you understand me? Not one of you. I'm right behind you, Daniel. Please take care of her. I'm coming. Please don't let anything happen to her. Please, Deborah screamed, already running toward her car. Inside the car, it was bad. Emily was bleeding. Not a little, a lot. Daniel held her in the back seat and pressed himself close to her, one hand cradling her head, the other gripping hers like letting go wasn't something he was capable of. The city moved past the windows in a blur of streetlights and dark roads as Samuel was driving. Stay with me. Please, my love, stay here. Don't go anywhere. I need you to stay right here with me. I don't care about any of what they said, none of it. I love you. I love you more than anything I have ever loved, and I need you to stay. Please, he whispered, his lips close to her ear, his voice barely holding together as his shirt was soaked through dark with her blood. She was unconscious, but not fully gone. She was still groaning softly, small, fragile sounds that escaped with every bump in the road. And to Daniel, those tiny sounds were everything. They were proof. They were the only thing standing between him and the kind of darkness he didn't know how to come back from. He didn't let go of her hand the entire way. When they reached the hospital, the medical team moved with the kind of urgency that made everyone else's heart rate spike. A wheeled bed appeared from nowhere. Emily was lifted and transferred, and they were already rushing her toward the theater before Daniel had even finished his sentence. Deborah had somehow arrived ahead of them. Samuel was pacing, desperate. Emily's other cousins were grabbing at each other. Everyone was spinning. Daniel stood in the middle of all of it, bloody and hollow, completely lost. Doctor, please. My wife. My baby. Please save them. I am begging you. Do not come back out of that theater and give me bad news, because I promise you, I will bring this entire building down. Please. Save them both, Daniel said, his voice cracking between the demand and the begging. I need you to calm down, sir. I understand the fear you're in right now. But I assure you, we will do everything in our power. Your fiancé and your baby are in the best hands they can be in right now. But I need to go and do my job. Please, the doctor said before turning and disappearing back through the theater doors. Samuel stepped to Daniel, both hands gripping his shoulders. Listen to me. She's going to make it. I believe that. I need you to believe it too. But bro, we still have the other issue. What your dad said tonight. I'm not saying I believe it, but it's there, and we can't pretend it isn't. But that is for later. Right now, the only thing that matters is her. She's going to be okay. She has to be. Samuel. Daniel's jaw tightened. Don't. Not here. Not now. Not anywhere near me tonight. That woman in there is my wife. Our parents are losing their minds, and that's all that story is. Please, don't add to what I'm already carrying. I need her and my baby to walk out of that theater alive. That's the only thing I am focused on. Okay. Okay, you're right. That's all that matters. But bro, look, Samuel said quietly, tilting his head toward the entrance. Daniel turned. Emily's mother was walking through the lobby doors. His father came in right after her. His uncle. Her aunties. One by one, they filtered in, faces drawn and guilty, like a group of people who knew they had done something they couldn't undo. Daniel moved before any of them got another step in. He walked straight at them, hands still dark with dried blood, face tight with everything he was holding back. What are you doing here? Why are you here? You came to see the damage, didn't you? You came to see if she's dead. Let me tell you something. Your plan has failed. She is going to make it. So leave this hospital right now, while I'm still asking you to leave, Daniel said, his voice iron and low. My son, look at you. There is blood on your body. Please, just tell me she is okay. We are not here to fight. We came because we couldn't stay away. We came to explain, to be here. Tell me what happened. Tell me she's fine, his father pleaded. My daughter. Daniel, please. I need to go in there and see her, Emily's mother cried, trying to push past him. Edward, this is what 30 years of silence brought us. Look at these children. Look at what your pride and your stubbornness have done to them. Daniel stepped directly in front of her. You are not walking through those doors. Not tonight. Not to see her. She is my wife, and she is in that theater fighting for her life because of what you both did. Whatever pain happened between you 30 years ago, that was yours to carry. You did not have the right to drop it on us the way you did. Not tonight. Not ever. And if you know what is good for you, you will leave before I do something none of us can come back from, Daniel said, his voice filling the entire corridor. I am not leaving my daughter here alone. I cannot. I will not, Emily's mother said, her whole body shaking. And you, my son, I know I wasn't there. I know I left you. I have carried that guilt for 31 years. You are a grown man, and I missed everything. I'm sorry. But please, please let me be here for this. Daniel didn't even respond this time. He just looked at her, long, hollow, exhausted, and turned away. Some things didn't need an answer anymore. The doctor had slipped out of the theater briefly. Daniel caught him in the hallway and stepped in front of him. Doctor. We have been here for 3 hours, and not a single person has come out to talk to us. Not one word. What is happening in that theater? Why won't anyone speak to me? Daniel demanded. The doctor looked at him, a strange, tight look, the kind that carries bad news just below the surface, and then hurried back through the doors without a word. An hour passed. The doctor came out again, retrieved something, and went back in. Then out again briefly, then back in. Every time those doors swung open and closed, Daniel's chest tightened a little more. Something was wrong. He could feel it. He had been feeling it for a while now, and the feeling was getting louder. He couldn't hold it anymore. He planted himself in front of the doctor and did not move. Stop. Stop right here. You have been in and out of that theater for hours. It is almost midnight. 6 hours, doctor. Over 6 hours since you took her in. You keep coming out and going back in, and none of you will look at me. I am asking you right now, what is happening in there? Tell me. Or I will open those doors myself. Sir, please stay calm. There is still a great deal being done. This is not entirely in our hands. Please just stay calm, the doctor said, barely holding his gaze before stepping past him and rushing back through. My daughter. Where is my daughter? Emily's mother's voice broke through the hallway. We have been standing here for hours and no one has told us anything. How long are we supposed to wait? I don't want to hear your voice, Daniel said flatly. I am telling all of you, go home. Go back to your houses. Because if I let myself think too hard about what you both walked into our lives and did tonight, about what you brought in without warning, I will not be answerable for what I do next. Leave. You have done more than enough. Then the theater doors crashed open. A nurse came sprinting out, fast and breathless, her face pale with panic. She went straight for the doctor, grabbed his arm, and pulled him close. Whatever she said was low enough that only he could hear it, but the look on her face said everything. Doctor, the patient, the C-section, please come now, sir. We're almost losing her. Please come now. She turned and bolted back through the doors. The doctor dropped everything in his hands, the pen, the papers, all of it, and ran. Daniel's scream tore through the hospital like something being ripped apart. He broke completely. He dropped under the weight of it, sobbing with his whole body, the kind of crying that has no pride left in it. No dignity, no restraint. Just pure devastation. For nearly 20 minutes, he couldn't lift his head. He couldn't speak. He just wept, shaking, on the floor of that hospital corridor, while the people around him stood helpless and silent. And in those 20 minutes, only one thought kept moving through him, slow and quiet beneath all the noise, beneath all the pain. That even if every word his father said was true, even if the worst possible version of their story was real, he would still choose her. He would choose her in every life, in every version of this world, in every nightmare and every dream. That was not something that could be taken from him. Not by blood. Not by truth. Not by anything. When he finally stood, something had changed in his face. His eyes were dry. And they were absolutely burning. He turned to look at his father, and his father couldn't hold his gaze. Couldn't look at him. This is your fault, Daniel said, his voice low and quiet and more frightening than any scream. Everything that has happened tonight, every moment of it, because of you. If anything happens to that woman, if she does not come out of that theater alive, you will face me. And you will lose me too. Emily's cousin spun toward Emily's mother, her own voice tight with fury. Auntie, how could you? You saw how pregnant she was. You saw the state she was in. She was days away from giving birth, and you chose tonight to drop that kind of news. You know what stress does to a pregnant woman. You know what shock can trigger. Did you want her to lose the baby? Did you want to lose her? I was confused, Emily's mother whispered, her face completely crumpled. I didn't know what to do. I saw them together, planning a wedding, planning a life, and I panicked. I handled it terribly. I know that. I know. God, please let her be okay. This is my fault. This is entirely my fault. Then pray. And pray hard, Daniel said, his voice as flat and cold as stone. Pray that my fiancé and my baby come out of that theater alive. Because if they don't, I am not making an idle threat. I am not the kind of man who makes idle threats. Not when it comes to her. Samuel stepped in. Dad. Uncle. Both of you. Whatever your reasons were, whatever you were thinking 30 years ago, tonight was not the time. There is no version of tonight where this was the right thing to do. Look at where we are standing. Daniel's voice broke one final time. We were happy. Everything was right. We had built something real together. And then we let you in, and now I am standing in a hospital covered in her blood while she fights to breathe inside that theater. I don't even know who I am anymore. His uncle reached for his shoulder. My boy, please. We only wanted the truth to come out. The truth that had been buried far too long. Please, just hear your father. Hear your mother. Daniel shrugged his hand off hard. Samuel was immediately at his side, pulling him back, creating distance. Uncle. Dad. Leave. Right now. This is not the time and it is not the place. Please go, Samuel said. One of Emily's cousins stepped forward, voice shaking. The truth. You want to call it that, standing here in a hospital at midnight because your truth sent a heavily pregnant woman into early labor? She needed peace. She needed calm. She needed the people who claimed to love her to protect her. And after decades of silence, you decided that tonight was your moment. Look at what that decision cost. Daniel turned to face both parents one final time. His voice was steady now, and it was final. Let me say this one time, and one time only. I will never leave Emily. I will never walk away from her. Not for any story, not for any claim, not for anything you can put in front of me. She is my life. She is the mother of my child. We are a family. We have been a family for 9 years, and that does not change tonight or any other night. So whatever truth you're carrying, it is yours. I didn't ask for it, and I don't want it. Now get out of my face. Daniel, please, I am begging you, his mother cried. This is an abomination. You didn't know. Neither of you knew, and that is on us. But now you do know. You cannot continue this way. She is your blood. She is your younger sister. Do not call me your son. His jaw locked. What you are saying is what you want to be true. It is not my truth, and it is not hers. We are a family. And the next time those words leave your mouth while I am in the room, you will regret it. Now leave. One of Emily's cousins took her aunt by the arm. Auntie, that is enough. You need to go outside right now. Not tomorrow, not after one more word, right now. He is not in a state to hear anything you have to say, and honestly, neither are we. Mom, please, another cousin said firmly. Go outside. We'll come and get you the moment there's news. But Daniel doesn't want you here, and after what happened tonight, I understand him completely. Daniel pointed at his father without a word. When no one moved, Samuel walked straight to both men. He stood in front of them, and when he spoke, every word landed clean and deliberate. You both knew. You kept this for 30 years. 30 years while these two grew up in different cities, found each other by chance, fell in love, built a life, made a child together. You had every opportunity to say something. You had every opportunity to be honest. And you chose silence. You chose yourselves over your children, and this, all of this, is what that choice looks like. So don't stand here talking about the truth. You surrendered the right to that truth a long time ago. Now go. His father shook his head, desperate. Samuel, it wasn't that straightforward. We were broken people making broken choices. I know that's not enough. But I am ready now, ready to face all of it, ready to try to make this right. There is nothing left to fix, Samuel said quietly, and he turned and walked away. Down the corridor, the theater was still. The doors were closed. Nobody was coming out. Time had become something long and shapeless and unbearable. But inside was a different world entirely. Emily's body lay on the operating table, still and pale and bleeding. The doctors surrounded her, hands moving carefully, machines beeping around them in a steady, urgent rhythm. They had already brought the baby out. A girl. Small and fragile and heartbreakingly perfect. Emily herself stood just beside them. She was hovering slightly above the floor, looking down at her own body with the kind of detached, impossible clarity that only comes when you are somewhere between worlds. She could see the baby. She could see how small she was, how beautiful. She smiled, and tears fell, though she wasn't entirely sure anymore whether she was capable of tears where she was standing. She drifted out into the corridor. Daniel was there, pacing, falling apart at the seams. She moved toward him and reached out her hand. It passed straight through the air between them. She was floating, untethered, weightless, caught somewhere between staying and leaving. She went back to the theater. The doctors were pressing gently on her stomach, inserting tubes with quiet urgency, speaking to each other in low, careful voices. Some of them had bowed their heads for a moment. She looked at her body on that table, still, colorless, barely there. She tried to touch herself. She couldn't feel a thing. She walked back out into the corridor. Her mother was weeping against the wall. Her cousins held each other. People moved through the space around her as though she was made of air. Eventually, Daniel walked outside. He couldn't stay in the lobby anymore. It was pressing in on him from every side. He leaned against the car and sat on the edge of the hood. Samuel came and sat beside him without a word. They opened drinks. Emily watched Daniel tip his head back and stare up at the sky, wide, dark, indifferent, and pour something down his throat. His eyes were hollow. He was drowning, and she couldn't reach him. She couldn't hold him. She couldn't tell him she was right there. She couldn't even be certain she would still be right there much longer. Samuel drank with him, one hand on his shoulder, just keeping him company in the dark. Emily floated barefoot across the night air toward them, trembling, pulled between two directions at once. Something was happening to her. Something she didn't have the words to name, but she could feel it, the way you feel a door beginning to close. She turned slowly back toward the theater. Then Daniel looked up. He wasn't looking at the sky anymore. He was looking straight ahead, right through the lobby windows, right through the walls, right at the exact space where she was standing. His expression changed. Something moved across his face that had nothing to do with logic or reason. Something deep and animal and old. He said something. And deep inside Emily, something shifted. Thank you so much for watching. If you've been with this journey from the beginning, drop a comment below and tell me what you're feeling right now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you're the first to know when the finale drops.